events into the 2015 Asia Pacific Rally Championship, and it's a win apiece for the two MRF Skoda drivers. Sweden's Pontus Tiedemann won the opening round in New Zealand. Then the roles were reversed in New Caledonia, when Tiedemann had a small off and punctured a tyre. The time loss allowed teammate Gaurav Gill an easy run to victory. With local driver Jean-Louis Leroux finishing third in his Skoda, the MRF Tyres team filled the podium in New Caledonia. So as the teams head to Queensland, Australia for the third round, Tiedemann has a 3-point buffer on Gill, with Leroux a handy third, ahead of Mike Young and Subhan Aksa. The International Rally of Queensland is based in Caloundra on the Sunshine Coast, 100 kilometres north of Brisbane. This is a holiday destination on Australia's east coast, with lots of good surf and swimming beaches, beautiful scenery, and a warm winter climate. And while there is the serious matter of preparing for the rally, the drivers and co-drivers also make time for some local media events and getting up close and cuddly with a few of the tree-hugging natives. The main street of Caloundra is closed for the start ceremony, attracting a good crowd of locals to check out the cars and the entertainment. Tiedemann is starting first on the road, and with a lot of rain in the area over the past few weeks, has his fingers crossed that today's fine weather will have dried the roads out.
I don't know, but I hope it will do that. So yeah, it will. Maybe this will be a little bit challenged, but it's the same for everyone, and it can make it more tricky and more things happening. So just need to have a bit focused on this and then push every place where it's dry.
Did you like the sort of character of the roads?
Yeah, I really like it. It's fast and flowing, so for me this is perfect.
Indian driver Gaurav Gill is counting on his past experience here to make a winning difference.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it should be good for us. Been here a few times now, obviously, but the stages are always changing, you know. They always add and delete new parts and bits, but obviously most of it is quite similar to what we've been running. There have been a lot of rains though lately, so you know, the things change quite quickly here, you know. Wet roads can dry up really quickly when the sun's out.
New Zealander Mike Young finished on the podium at his home event on his first ever outing in a four-wheel drive turbocharged car. However, the young Kiwi knows that Queensland presents a completely different challenge.
Especially the road is more dirt-based, so if there's a bit of water, it's almost like Malaysia in places. So luckily the recce was wet, so at least we know where it's going to be slippery. So under the forest and in the shade, it's going to be really tricky.
Starting number 4 on the road in a Group N Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10, Indonesian driver Subhan Aksa has limited experience of the Australian roads.
We had to write new notes with Nicola, so it's basically a brand new rally for us again.
Right. And quite a different challenge here, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like looking at the recce, it was still quite muddy. I mean, if it was muddy, then it will look like our rally back home in Indonesia. So, but unfortunately, fortunately, it's going to be drying up. So we're going to be having hopefully a great weekend in the forest.
The last time New Caledonian Jean-Louis Leroux was here was in 2012 in a Citroën DS3. Which he's now swapped for a highly competitive Skoda Fabia S2000. It's a rally he really likes.
Yeah, it's a good event. It's a difficult event, very challenging because the roads and the rhythm is changing every time. You can go very fast on a very wide road and then enter in the forest, and which it is very narrow and some slippery parts, and yeah. It's quite interesting.
The APRC drivers are joined at the International Rally of Queensland by some of Australia's top drivers, including two-time Australian champion and former APRC driver Eli Evans in a Citroen DS3. 2014 APRC competitor Mark Pedder is entered in a Peugeot 208 Maxi, run by Race Talk, the team behind the MRF Tyres Skodas. He's hoping for a clean run as the team develops this brand new car. A couple of Citroen DS3s are next over the ramp for Tony Sullins and Adrian Coppin. Adding to the international entry are Japanese drivers Atsushi Masumura in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10 and Fuyuhiko Takahashi, who lines up 11th in his Aresti Subaru Impreza WRX. The next morning, the competitors are up before sunrise to drive northwest of Caloundra to the small rural town of Imbil, where the rally will be based for the next 2 days. Gill immediately stamps his authority on the event, winning the first 2 tests and moving into a 13-second lead after just 11 kilometres of stages. But then he has a spin on the 22-kilometre speedy contractors stage. Valuable time is lost finding a gear and then reversing. And by the end of the stage, the gap back to second place Tiedemann is now just 9 seconds. The Swedish driver is taking some time to adjust to the changeable conditions, enjoying the faster, drier roads, but not the more slippery, narrower tracks under the canopy of trees. The battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th has been intense, with Aussie Eli Evans initially holding 3rd, even though the Citroen driver does have this wild moment, crossing the finish line of stage 1 on 2 wheels. Evans has a close call in stage 3 as well, when the sun on the windscreen temporarily blinds him and he runs off the road, glancing a tree and ripping off a front guard. Luckily, the damage is only cosmetic, but the scary moment convinces Evans to ease off the pace, and he drops to 4th, behind Mike Young. The New Zealander also has a wake-up call early in the first stage, going in too hot on a slippery corner and running wide. But he then settles into the right rhythm for the conditions. Young drops 5.5 seconds to Evans on stage 1, but reduces the gap back to just 2 seconds on stage 2, Gibbons. On the longer, faster, speedy contractors stage, Young moves his Cusco Easy Racing Subaru into 3rd, with a 12-second lead on Evans.
7 right over 130.
And the Australian's 4th place is under threat, with Aksa closing in. The Indonesian driver, 6th on stage 1, moves his Mitsubishi ahead of Leroy into 5th place on stage 2. He closes the gap to 4th placed Evans to just 10 seconds on stage 3. And then on stage 5, he moves ahead, finishing the morning 10 seconds ahead of Evans. Behind, there's a big battle for 6th between Leroy and the Skoda Fabia and Pedder and the Peugeot 208 Maxi. They swap times throughout the morning before Leroy moves ahead on stage 5. By the lunchtime service break, the Skoda driver has established a 30-second gap over Pedder. Developing a brand new car on an event is never easy. However, Pedder's Peugeot Maxi is showing it has plenty of future potential. Citroen DS3 driver Sullins is not far off the Peugeot's pace, and he gets as high as 7th place before problems strike on stage 3. The DS3 comes to a soggy halt in a deep water splash. His watery departure allows fellow Citroen driver Coppin into 8th place. But he's battling a bout of flu and is quickly reeled in by Japanese driver Masamura in his Mitsubishi. His countryman Takahashi in his Subaru is 10th, but he finishes stage 5 with his Impreza battered and bruised after a low-speed rollover. At the head of the field, though, it's Gill who's dominated the morning stages, dealing best with road conditions that have been extremely changeable and often difficult to read. At the International Rally of Queensland, Gaurav Gill arrives back at lunchtime service with a lead of 7.7 seconds on teammate Pontus Tiedemann. But he knows he has to keep the pressure on through the afternoon.
Kind of have to keep the rhythm up right up there, and because it's now a repeat of the stages, so can't relax at all.
What do you think on the repeat run? What the stage is going to do?
I think it's going to be still going to be a little slippery because most of the stages are under covered by the trees. There's a lot of dense forest there, so every time have a lot of trees, it's not going to dry out quickly. So that's the whole thing. You've got some grip some places and you don't have grip other places. So it's quite unique.
While enjoying the stages and the battle with Gill, Tiedemann is surprised by the lack of grip.
It was more tricky than I expect out there, so it's been a tricky morning, but yeah, we're here and we're happy for that.
You're going to try and chase Gaurav. He's got a few seconds on you now, 7 I think.
Yeah, he's going quick for sure, so I just go in my pace and just working on my own thing, and then we will see after the day how the standing is.
Over at the Cusco camp, third place Young is having changes made to his Subaru as he too is surprised at the lack of grip.
Oh, the morning's been kind of average really. Haven't really had much confidence with the car, so hopefully the change this afternoon will work better and hopefully it will dry out. We had a little issue in the sort stage where the boot flew off at the start, so it acted a bit like a sail. So there was a big jump there. I think it actually saved us. It kept us in the air and we flew quite far.
APRC in 4th has had a challenging morning.
The most difficult thing is that it goes from a lot of grip and then to very slippery. So that's the most challenging part of the first set of stages, but hopefully it will be drying up in the afternoon.
Leroux has not been able to push as hard as he'd like either.
We found a clutch problem, and so it's not a problem in the stages, but it's in your mind. So maybe you lost some concentration and you want to be back on the service and do not push too hard. I don't know. It's just, we'll see this afternoon.
The 5 afternoon tests see a superb battle between Gill and Tiedemann. Gill is fastest on the first 2 stages. He starts the 22-kilometre stage 8 with a 10.2 second lead. And even though the roads are drying, he's finding that it can still be slippery. And he ends up overshooting a corner.
Handbrake it. Stop it.
It is only a small error, but it's enough for Tiedemann to win the test and take back 2.4 seconds. The Swedish driver is starting to enjoy the stages, and with the roads drying, he goes on the attack, winning stage 9 and reducing the deficit to 7 seconds. He also wins the final stage of the day, Kandanga North, and all of a sudden, the gap between first and second is only 4.6 seconds. Back in third place, Young's happy with the changes made at the midday service, and he eases further ahead of APRC, leading his Japanese rival by just over 1 minute at the end of the day. After back to stage 6, fourth-placed Axa is just 0.4 of a second ahead of Evans. But through the afternoon, he gradually draws away from the Citroen driver and has a comfortable 32-second gap by the end of the day. Evans has lost that battle, but he comfortably wins the Australian Rally Championship round for the day. Leroux and Pedder continue to trade times, with Leroux in 6th place beating his rival on the first 3 stages of the afternoon. Pedder finds some speed though on the final 2 tests, but it's not enough to overtake the New Caledonian. He finishes the day in 7th. Coppin starts to feel better in the afternoon and chases down Masamura to take back 8th place on stage 7. Masamura has damaged the front suspension on his Evo 10, and with very few spare parts available, he has to ease off. Takahashi too is nursing his Subaru after his earlier rollover, and he drops further and further behind. Apart from Sullins though, everyone makes it through day 1, but all the competitors have differing views on how their days have gone.
Yeah, I made 2 mistakes in both of them in the longest stage, which was my fault. I'm still angry with myself for that. So we overshot a junction like mass by at least 30-40 meters, and then we had to rejoin the road, and so we lost chunks of time there.
Gilles is going really quick, but we catch up a slightly little of time to him. So I'm happy with this afternoon, but after this little bit tricky and hard morning for me.
The confidence came back and the setup changes at lunchtime just worked like amazingly. Straight away it felt really good, and we pushed on, and I think the times were reasonably well. We bridged the gap to the Skodas, and I think me and Subban had a bit of a battle there. I think we were up and down. He was won a few, I won a few, so it's good.
Yeah, we still didn't get the rhythm for the stages, so we still lose some time from Michael. But we managed to pull around just 2 seconds. But on the last one, I think we had some problems with the car. The car might have running out of fuel. The fuel is kind of low, so the engine kept cutting off. But yeah, luckily we're here.
We started the day in 3rd outright in the APRC, but Mike Young and Subban Axa have stepped up the pace, and I can't keep up now. It's a little bit difficult with the 2-wheel drive.
We had a moment in the last stage. We jumped over a crest and into a bank. Was lucky to go outside this.
We had some setup dramas first up, and we were doing some suspension changes on the fly, and then that long stage went through a big mud patch, threw some mud up on the screen, and washers didn't work. So we ran the second half of that stage without being able to see. So went off the road once into a ditch and then just backed out of it. So I think we dropped about a minute.
I just sort of woke up with a bit of a sore throat and a bit of a cough, and it sort of got a bit worse as the morning went on, but I'm sort of come good now. I think it was probably just me whinging and the man flu, so.
Right.
And the course is a little bit slippery and very roughly, very difficult because my car is front little bit damaged.
Yeah, but the today is very fine, but I'm driving very bad because my personal is difficult to this course. Yeah. I can't try how to describe this course, so that I lost my course. Yeah.
With just 4.6 seconds separating first and second, there's an intriguing battle looming between MRF teammates Gill and Tiedemann on day 2.
Right crest centre, 140, 4 plus right long.
It's day 2 of the International Rally of Queensland, and with just a few seconds lead, Gaurav Gill and co-driver Glenn McNeil are flying, absolutely determined to get a break on teammate Pontus Tiedemann. They're rewarded with a stage win, improving their lead to 8 seconds. Tiedemann has other ideas, and on stage 12 he cuts the gap back to 4.5 seconds, same as it was overnight. Here on stage 13, Woodlands, Tiedemann is giving it his all, even bouncing off a bank. His bravery moves him into the lead by 1.4 seconds. Young is second quickest on this stage, although he and co-driver Malcolm Reed have been battling their own issues during the morning, including hitting a bird at 180k, with feathers and other debris coming in through the air intake. Behind Young, the battle for fourth place fires up again when APRC is 29 seconds slower than Evans on stage 11. The Australian closing the gap between them to back under 4 seconds. For the rest of the morning, the stage times for the two are nearly identical. APRC does manage to eke out another second by the midday service break to lead his rival by 5 seconds. Unhappily, one competitor doesn't make it back to service. Takahashi's event comes to an abrupt end down a bank on stage 12. Up front, Gill loses more time to his teammate on SS14, Kandanga, and heads to midday service trying to work out how his overnight 4-second lead is turned into a 4-second deficit.
It was working fine until probably the midpoint of the first stage, and it started to fall away, and I started to have no confidence, but we still managed to pull a little bit of time on Pontus. And now we're getting back into service. We're trying to see what changes we can do to get some more speed.
However, that 4-second deficit suddenly becomes 28 seconds on SS15 when partway through Gill appears to go slightly wide on a corner and then shortly afterwards reports something's wrong.
Get it to the end, mate. 70, crest centre. Puncher, is it? No. Okay, 4 plus right cut. Just go easy on the cut. There's a big time, big gap here. 3 minus left, long, fast. 4, 3.
But worse is to come, just 100 metres into stage 16.
4 plus right. Oh, that's something. What's that? Just stop, mate. The engine, I think. Engine? Yeah, oil pressure 0.
I have just no words, it was all going so well, and I guess a lot of bad luck just showered all upon us today.
So what has been a fantastic fight ends with retirement for Gill and an easy run to victory for Tiedemann and co-driver Emil Axelsson. The win gives the Swedish pair a huge 34-point lead in the championship race.
Sure, it's good for the championship, and I also learn a lot to do this rally because it's been a special surface with a little bit slip and like this. So for me it's been really good, and also the team has done a fantastic job with the car. We're working really well, so it's been a good fight. Gill is going really quick, so it's been a great event, and I enjoy to be here in Australia.
Young backs up his third place in New Zealand with second here in his Group N Subaru Impreza. After 3 years driving two-wheel drive cars, the young Kiwi has slotted easily into the more powerful four-wheel drive.
Yeah, really happy. The weekend just went awesomely. There was a few little hiccups along the way, but just absolutely awesome. The car felt good. The Cusco car was awesome, and really happy to have the support from Easy Racing. Just helped a lot this weekend.
APRC improves his times in the afternoon, finishing his weekend-long battle with Evans 22 seconds in front of the Australian. He has third place and useful points in the championship.
Still some more work to do. We still got Mike to chase in the championship, but overall I think it's a good weekend for us.
As always, the International Rally of Queensland proves to be one of the toughest events to finish, with just 8 competitors making the full distance. Tiedemann adds the FIA Pacific Cup to his trophy cabinet, plus €500 as the winner here in the Asia Pacific Rally Cup, powered by Worth. Tiedemann's victory dramatically extends his lead on Gill in the championship, with Leroux holding third after 3 good finishes in the Pacific events. This was always intended to be Leroux's final APRC event for the year, But the New Caledonian makes a surprise adjustment to those plans.
Hopefully we'll see you again next year.
No, I'm going to retire.
So really this is your last international event?
I think so.
Yes.
I can change my mind, but you have to stop one day.
Shot.